Yeah, I shouldn't be going live yet, but practice makes perfect, baby. I'm riding with Kwame. I had to pause him because I had to go do something. Let go.
Personal, and it's just amazing to me how many people are saying that's their job. That's how I get. I see those comments so many times. They're right. That's their job. No, they're not right. Let me tell you my perspective. Okay. They get paid to say things that white people can't say. So is it right? No, but technically that is their job. Stephen A can say things about a black man that if a white man said it, we all would be triggered. We'd be alert to it. But because it's Stephen A, he's joining all these groups. You know, he's a Q-dog. He's honorary, but he looked like he's down with the brothers. He helps certain people. That he put the gatekeepers, they give this guy access to their wealth, and he helps certain prominent people that may fail from grace. So those people sit back and be quiet when they watch this man tear down every black male on television. We got Allen Iverson is not known for being one of the greatest little guys in the league.
Me speaking no English.
Kids walk up to Allen Iverson and say, "We talking about practice. We talking about practice."
I said, no, not right now. What the call about?
All of these black players.
Can you tell me what the call about?
Have a teenage black boy walk up to him and talk to him like that. Never. When what it means for a black quarterback to even get a chance to play in this league.
No, I'll transfer the number.
That's just starting to think black quarterbacks are not just athletes, that they're smart enough to run and throw. So that Cam Newton represents something. And so for the media to be able to disrespect Cam Newton the way that they do, it makes this teenage boy that hadn't proven a darn thing in life thinks that he can walk up to Cam Newton. All of that stuff that he do with us, but that's our fault. Why would he have to respect a black male when all black males have sat back and been quiet like I did too? But even now, the men that are retired.
Hold on, like you said, everybody that sat back and be quiet. So ain't nobody been saying nothing. So he been going ham. He been getting his money. Know what I'm saying? Now he shouldn't have been doing you like that, but true. There's a problem, but it ain't been no problem. The man just be talking crazy. People talk crazy. Now I don't agree with it, but people talk crazy. That's how he talk. But the good thing about it is, since you exposed him, he been doing a lot better. So hey, big ups to Stephen A, Kwame. Big ups to everybody for trying to do better. As long as you're trying to do better, we screw better, baby. Let's go.
They're going back to try to get these analyst jobs. So what that does is that make them sign company policy. If we've all made money and we all made millions, well, why can't you start your own channel? And that way you can go back against the machine, and now you can say, hey, you're not going to talk about these brothers like that. They don't talk about these white athletes like that. They don't keep comparing Brett Favre to Tom Brady. They allow this white man's name to be great. Brett Favre's name stands alone. Tom Brady's name stands alone. Why every time we get a guy that even shoot one jump shot like Michael Jordan, it's comparisons their whole career. It can't never be a black guy that stands alone with no comparison that he be the great Kevin Durant. Yeah. You got to compare him to somebody else because they want us to believe there's only one or two. You can always go back to that. White men got a bunch of great white men that they can go point at. Look at him, look at him, look at him. We keep talking about Michael Jordan.
Yeah, they always got to show a flaw somewhere in our system. Got to say, well, he wasn't better than him, or he wasn't the greatest at this, or the greatest at that, or he ain't no genius because it ain't in this form. Yeah, that's how they've been brainwashing us. You got to stop letting them, stop helping them. Because they ain't doing it no more. Now we doing it. We picked up their strategy.
We keep talking about certain people. We got to move on from allowing people to trap our mind into thinking there's a lot of great black kids. Why are we not talking about the programs that Devin George has going on? This man wasn't an NBA superstar, but if the NBA cares, you don't think they know about what he's doing? They got a national stage that they can put Devin's thing across the billboard. If the NBA cares, why is that not up on the billboards instead of painting the floor with Black Lives Matter, which is a slogan, and people are stepping down now with monies and houses? Instead of sloganing me to death, show me you care. Why not put Devin George's platform up on that big screen at halftime and duplicate it all around the world if you care?
True.
Well, I think that a lot with that though. I think with let me back up a little bit with Stephen A. Smith and making it, especially with black men. My issue with Stephen A. Smith, for a long time has how personal he makes it with black men. I remember being here in DC. I remember watching him with John Wall, and John Wall has gone through, terrible injuries. He's going through dealing with different things personally and everything like that. He's made his mistakes. He's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. He's admitted that he's made mistakes. But watching Stephen A. Smith tear him down and relate something that has nothing to do with his performance on the court, and that I see him do that different times. Oh, he's always partying and always kicking it out in DC. I know because my sources tell me this, and so that's why he got hurt, and that's why he's not. I was like, wait a minute. Why is one connected to the other? You don't say anything about it. Do you remember before when LeBron, every away city that he went to, he would throw a party there, but he was winning. So you didn't say nothing about it then. MJ thinking it all the time. He's winning. You don't say nothing about it all then. But you're going to take now the point when you know what I mean? John Wall is hurt, when he's injured, and now when he's struggling and everything like that, and take that moment to pounce on him. And it's that personal attacks that I'm like, when did the media become that? When did that happen? And he has a long list of people that he's done it. It's not just, you can go down the list with people that it's like a pattern. But nobody, like you said, nobody's ever spoken out about it the way that you called it, Taz. So now everybody's kind of paying attention a little bit more. Like, wait a minute. He got a point about that didn't grow up around men who, I think Stephen A. is from a family of all women. And he, his own coach from college rejected him. Stephen A. is jealous of alpha strong men.
I ain't watched this though.
Stephen A. is a puppet. The moment he said his real thought, what happened? He got fired and he had to apologize.
I don't watch nothing. So, I just record and post.
In my opinion, a real man can say what he wants. A real man has three trades. I grew up around men on a construction site, and those men found value in that. I can walk off this job and go get hired across the street. I know how to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm the best at it. What we've done is we've created a society of dudes that try to out-talk, lame bash, and stand on other men's shoulder and peacock. Men knew that that's not what you're supposed to do to another man, because you can lose your life like that. And as you can see, the crime rate from these little boys not learning what masculinity is, they're out here peacocking. So it's a lot more killing going on. So with Stephen A., he's just a jealous dude, man. He's not going to ever appreciate masculine men. We have to get back to masculinity. We have to get back to teaching these men skills so that company policy don't control them.
I'm still working.
Who sign a job now, they signed up for a company policy that you don't have freedom of speech anymore. It should not be an asterisk beside, oh, you have freedom of speech, but that goes against that company's policy. Well, that company is operating in the United States of America. And the United States of America says your company policy can't trump our God-given freedoms. Right. We should have freedom of speech. You shouldn't destroy people's livelihood because they don't like something that you like, because they like a person that you like. And that's why we're creating a melting pot of hate. The people who are being quiet, like I was, they're going to come out with an explosion. And we got to stop choking off people's right to talk by firing them, by calling them racist. Those are just words. We got to grow up. These educated people, I challenge you guys to start having conversations.
Yeah.
Start having debates where you're not talking over.
Yeah.
Start having debates
You just scared to have a conversation. You just want to end it. Oh, it's racist. He racist. So I don't have to deal with you because you're racist. I don't have to deal with the subject or the problem at hand because that person is racist.
You've lost that debate. Because I see a lot of, especially in the black media, we don't look educated.
Somebody in the subject racist, so you shouldn't have to deal with it, talk about it, or face it because they were racist. There's somebody's racist, so you can't talk to them. You can't even function because somebody's racist or they was racist or they folks was racist or it was people racist 120 years ago. Like, come on, it's 2021. I understand I hate them just as much. But hey, it's just as many not like that. Come on, y'all, stuck in the past. We trying to get to the future. Well, wake up, baby. Hey, racism ain't everything. Stop letting it be a handicap. Black people use racism as a handicap, for real.
We look emotional. We look like men that's trying to stand on top of other men's shoulders. That interview with Keith Randall and Roland Martin, that was embarrassing, in my opinion. That was an embarrassing set that an elder would talk to this young man like that who's at least trying to open up a school. That is not your position to change up what he's doing and what he came there to talk about, but start making it about political and trying to attach him to a group. He was trying to talk about masculinity and manhood and bringing schools back. We can teach our boys something that they can be proud of. We're letting the whole world talk about black girl magic, where there's a little boy sitting right across from that girl that nobody's talking about. And most of these little boys don't even have fathers, uncles, or anything that look like them. And the thing that a lot of people like Stephen A. Smith don't understand is what he does to black athletes is done to black boys on the regular in schools, and the way that teachers, white teachers, and sometimes black teachers, speak about and to these black boys is the same way that Stephen A. Smith is speaking. And I don't know if he's seeing this connection of what he's doing. I don't know, but he's normalizing speaking to somebody like they're not human. It was interesting. I was on this one program. This was like a few years ago, and I was gonna start talking about where I say, okay, a lot of people don't know the stuff that was going on with Kwame all around, with everything, with gun cons and everything like that. But then I stopped. I was like, wait a minute. I shouldn't have to explain all of this for you to be able to treat him like a human being. Right? It shouldn't even matter. I shouldn't tell you about how he grew up. I shouldn't tell you about none of that should matter. We need a pass as a black man to get some respect. We need a humble story to get your respect. I should have to tell you that little sob story about everything and what happened. You should be able to respect him just because he is a man. And that's the problem with people like Stephen A. Smith that don't respect athletes as men. Because you can critique when people say that, okay, it's his job to critique. Critique, yes, critique is fair game. You had this amount of points. You're supposed to have done this. We need you to do this to be a rebound, to block, and all of that stuff. Those are critiques. But when you start talking about somebody personally and have a personal smear campaign, which is what he has with people. It's a reason why they do that. When you start, perception is reality. That psycho Hitler used that tactic when he would talk over the loudspeaker. When they defame you like that, people automatically in their mind was like, well, okay, whatever happened to him, they say that was justified. They said it was bad. Right. So that's why you can't allow anymore for them to talk about him like that. He knows exactly what he's doing. This guy is the worst thing for sports. He is the worst thing for young black men.
No, I wouldn't say he's the worst thing. I say if he keep talking down on him, he can be the worst thing. He can make him less valued. But at the same time, as much as platform he got, he can use that for good. Stephen A. can use his platform to do better and get them boys even more money than they would have been or could have been. All he got to say is they ain't paying him enough. They paying him $1 trillion. That ain't enough. They making more than that. Oh, okay. and the people will outcry for it, and the players will outcry for it. So realize what you got by the neck, Kwame.
You watch this guy do this, and they know what the outcome is. They know the average white person don't. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this scenario. You answer this question. If people see a black male get kicked in the butt by another male, just he walking by, you just kick him in the butt, walking by doing nothing, and somebody see a nice little white poodle dog just walking, and a male just comes and kick him in the butt. What do you think will get kicked in the butt?
What you need?
Because you've criminalized. You know, Malcolm X talked about this a long time ago with the police and how they do and how they justifies the criminalization.
Hi guys, I need a please. Yes,
Okay, all three of y'all playing.
yeah, we're gonna try to do this glitch where you can get this gun that's not even in the game
You
yet.
said you finna try to do what now?
A glitch that a gun that's in a game yet in a jetpack. That's not in the game yet, but it's in the mothership. But we don't know when they're gonna release it. But oh,
You got a little fast right
yeah, you were happy. What are you doing? Come at me, bro.
You're
Come
right.
at me.
Cause what happened?
Yeah,
Right.
how is it too powerful?
It's called ratchet.
Yeah, it can just stun
Do the
them out of
ratchet.
something. Oh yeah. But that's
Do
not
the
even
ratchet.
strong. It's nothing basically. Yeah. It can only launch and that's strong. That's so tough. Yeah. See, I did it. The reason why I call it believe it. Believe it, I did. Believe it, I did.
So both of y'all come to me and then jump off this building. Y'all can jump off this building, not a problem, okay? So jump off that building. You see it?
Yes.
I ain't gonna lie, I can't take it.
No, Steph, jump off this building.
Yeah, if you jump off the alien ship, it's just gonna glide you out.
No, but first of all, jump off. Come back up and then jump off when you go to the shelter.
Okay. I think Drake was here.
Attack black males. You know why? Because black males attack each other as well. Why am I? If you're married,
That's what we
nobody's
do.
gonna respect your wife.
That's
if
what
you
we
don't
do.
respect her. If they watch you treating her a certain way, then they're gonna be like, why are you telling me I can't say you don't respect her? So we gotta start understanding we gotta respect ourselves first. We shouldn't be asking why is Stephen A doing this, doing that. Us men gotta stop infighting so much so we can say, hey look, we demand you take him out of sports. We don't want him talking about none of our black athletes anymore. And if we had our own money and we had our own jobs and not being controlled by company policy or a woman, because most of us black males, if we're honest, we're controlled by our woman. And so we have to get back independent to where we can stand up as men again. And it's not toxic to disagree. We've been shouted out and shouted down so much that
Because I've been upset.
It ain't just always okay to show all your feelings and just care so hard. You are supposed to be a male. It is a reason. It's a difference. Feelings is a big problem in our society. We focus on feelings too much.
men are afraid to be men. It's not just about Stephen A. They've been shouting at us since school age. So now every time a woman talks to us, most men are taught to just whimper down. And it's like, no, if you're an adult and you think a woman is wrong, you don't have to be disrespectful to disagree. Most times when you just disagree with a woman, you'll see how disrespectful she will get. And we're creating a society that behavior in women now don't have to match behavior in men. Men have to go down here, and women get to be full-body women and get you told. We got to correct that. Nobody should be told and anybody nothing. We should be communicating with respect and love with each other. And I hear you there. I definitely agree. There's, and I don't want to bring up specific cases. I don't, but there are cases that apply to what you just said. Jamel Hill. I'll say. Jamel Hill, I don't put her with Stephen A. Smith. I don't put her within that ilk. If she was with Stephen A. Smith, she would still be at ESPN. I think she works. I don't. I think that and we can talk about this for a moment here. I think, and this was my view of what happened there, and you can then tell me exactly what your view is. I thought that she made a very ill-timed joke, and this is why. I saw where the beginning things happened with you and Matt Barnes and Stephen Stack, and she chimed in with a joke. I know the reference that she was making from the show because I have watched the show Game of Thrones, and I saw all on social media that was making that reference. But I also saw at the same time where TMZ was saying Kwame Brown is violent and Kwame Brown is throwing threats and Kwame Brown is threatening, and they kept using those words. So for her to say that joke at that specific time, it was very ill-timed. I say 100%, but I don't think that she meant it with the same intent that TMZ meant it at. I just think she made an ill-timed joke. That was just my view of that situation.
I ain't hear.
You can tell me, exactly.
I didn't hear, so I can't really speak too much. I can speak for her. I mean, I kind of vouch for her, but it's hard to catch these go-along, get-along gangs, as they call it. But I don't know, but I'm cool with Janae. I have to check her out. I have to go do my research before I can speak on that.
What happened to what parts that I missed? Does that to black men, because ESPN allows them. ESPN didn't allow him to say that about white. When white women got offended, boom, he said, "Smith, you got to correct this, or you will no longer be at ESPN." That was their position. But black men,
instantly,
you can say things that are incorrect.
Instantly.
Kevin Durant, remember when Stephen A. Smith was like, KD, he was saying KD's, from my sources, are going to go to either the Lakers or the Knicks or something like that. And KD said, that ain't true. I didn't say that. Nobody in my camp said that. You're lying and making things up. Well, see, the reason why I say Jamel Hill is worse, because at least Kevin Durant can actually be a man and tell Stephen A., you're lying. But see, Jamel Hill is worse because they have weaponized black women like her. She went to Michigan or something like that, right? She hangs around all white people. So her ideology, in my opinion, is definitely from a white base. So to me, what it looks like is a hyper-masculine woman who is envious of men, especially alpha males who's outspoken. And she knows that in society, it looks bad if I come back and say something to her in any way. That's why they were judging like, oh my goodness, he said she need to mind her business. Now, what would happen if we switched roles where a man was in a woman's business and talking about a woman? Now, mind you, they're always going to have plausible deniability. These people are educated people. They're always going to say it's just a joke or it was just this. Or we were talking about a game. Well, me and you ain't never joked before, man. Me and you are not friends. And so I'm supposed to believe that this is such a coincidence that some light-skinned guy, Becky with the good hair, invites me to his private part. That's the same day that Jamel Hill say I woke up with violence. TMZ say I'm violent and I'm sending out threats and I'm attacking people. Then go on the Breakfast Club. They talk about my father's a murderer, my brother's a murderer, my other brother got life. So all of these things happen in one day. And a woman who's never joked with me before, who was trying to get me to curse her out and be aggressive towards her like I was doing towards the men. Remember when I told you earlier, they send women to stop movements. They send the LGBT. If I would have cursed at her like I did those gentlemen, everybody tunes out because I'm talking to a woman. But here's where when you change the role, the sex, the behavior is different. If a man gets in a woman's business, he's able to be called a B dude, a BA dude. They can tell him to suck something that's not even attached to him. He can be disrespected on all levels. But they keep telling men what they can and can't say and what they can and cannot do. Jamel Hill, I told her the right thing. I don't know you, ma'am. You need right around if it was a man doing the same thing. But so we got to stop. I don't take my marching orders from women. I know that there's a sector of women out there that hate men, and they go out there to try to attack any man that looks strong, and they'll make it about something bigger than what it is.
Yeah,
that's why I focus on behavior.
I deal with that every day. With y'all wanna be strong women, and I see the exact opposite. So all y'all do is tear y'all self down by trying to fight me for fighting for y'all. We gotta open up, wake up all the way around the board. Everybody got a lot to do. We can start.
When I was growing up, a woman did not walk into a room full of males and start inserting their opinion around men. The ladies would have stopped her before a man even popped her on a little booty. The ladies would have corrected her and said, whoa, 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 there's nothing but men in there. Come on up out of here. And vice versa. When I walked in a room and it was nothing but females, I was told quickly to speak where the food was and where I need to go. And so now we have a society that we've allowed our upbringing to be pushed to the back burner. We don't have women that represent grandma them no more. A lot of them are not. A lot of them are talking very disrespectful to men, to where men are afraid to aggress them or talk back to them. Well, I'm not going to be aggressive to you. I'm just going to tell you like LeVar Ball did. You have a lane to stay in, and I do as well. And that's the way men and women don't conflict, because men and women shouldn't be in each other's business in that manner, especially not an aggressive manner. And no, I don't believe Jamel Hill meant that as a joke, because I don't play video games, I don't watch TV, I don't do none of that, and it's not a coincidence. She's a part of that same go along, get along game, and I don't see what she does that's positive other than go get a job somewhere, and then they use her as somebody who can attack certain people, because those certain people can't attack her back. If she says something to a white person, they can't attack her back in the same manner. So it's all a game.
Well, let me, I think we have different views on Jamel Hill, and that's cool. Has she ever apologized to you for inserting herself into that conversation?
No, she even said something else that was crazy, like, "Oh, don't talk about my mama." I wasn't talking about anyone's mama. I said my mama's cooking. So the things that she say, like, I see past the deniability that I know these so-called educated people are going to use. But the one thing that they don't understand is that their arrogance, their protection makes them sloppy. So the busty bus that's so sorry at basketball has now argued with two guys that I thought was a singular argument over a joke. Now look at how many people have mentioned my name, the little busty bus that was the #1 draft pick that nobody liked. Why are all these people start talking about me over an argument with two athletes that probably need to shut up and dribble in their opinion?
Yeah, I hear you, but I just, I see a lot of the stuff that Jamel Hill does. I see her going against the grain so much. I mean,
see, that's Jamel's friend. He just don't want to say that's my home girl. See, bro, you got to keep it real. That's my home girl. I chit chat with her. I seen her plenty of times. I dealt with her plenty of times. I figure she cool. Just stop trying to sugarcoat it. Either you say how you think it feel or you don't. Keep trying to deflect it and sugarcoat it. That don't help. It just make you look bad.
I don't, but I hear what you're saying.
No, you hear her talking. That's all you hear. You hear her talking. You don't see any going against the grain, because you go on her Instagram. I love those black people that talk all that pro-black stuff, and then you look at their pictures and everybody around them white. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but the one thing I do know is there's a through line between all these people with their fists in the air. You look at where they live. You look at who they hang with, and it ain't you and me. I don't care about what somebody talk like. I don't care about a photo op or a group that they join. I told you I watch behavior, and I watch what she says. She says black men, or something like this. Black men are the new white supremacists of the black community, or something like that.
Seriously?
I might misquote her. I don't know it verbatim.
Seriously though? That sounds probably about right. I wouldn't be surprised.
but it was some type of attack, like we are oppressing black women, which is so far from the truth. Because most black men make $42,000 to $50,000 a year, and these black women are making six figures for desk jobs at the government. So there ain't no black woman that's making twice the amount of a man is being oppressed. And I don't care if they make less, they're not being oppressed. So Miss Hill is just there to distract and destroy families, in my humble opinion. I don't see anything that she does positive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I do see a different, side. I see of her, standing up for her, especially with the ESPN thing and the way that they wanted her to go along and get along, and the way that they wanted her to follow a company, line as far as what her commentary is, what her commentary isn't, and then allow other people to do Stephen A. Smith type things because that's okay. I mean, there's a lot there, and I we can respectfully agree on disagree on that, but I do want to ask you this, as far as going back to people who have, like MJ, the question that I get a lot of times on MJ is people were so surprised to hear the way he treated you. They were shocked because people have a certain image of MJ. And
I was surprised.
If there was
I
social
didn't
media
think
back
it'd be
then,
like that.
people would have
I
a different
figure he
view
was a
of
little
lot of different
asshole
people
though.
who we put on a high pedestal because
The
they're
perfection.
with the way that MJ's surroundings kept him, it was like they could create an image of MJ that everybody could just see as almost the perfect person. Do you know what I mean? But then to see that MJ had different things that he did that wasn't necessarily that people would frown upon, shocking to people. So people kept asking. I had about 25 people after Jihadi and all us told the story about him kicking the ball in the stands and telling you to go fetch it. They were like, "Did he really do that?" I was like, "We all weren't making it up. We were all right there." You know what I mean? Or did he really do this? Did he really do that? And what is it about us putting human beings on pedestal to the point where we don't think that they possibly do anything that we disagree with or that we're frowned upon in order to have a hero worship type of a thing? Do you know what I'm saying?
You can't blame the people. You got to blame the media. They create these heroes.
True.
Stars are not born. They are created. They don't allow you to hear stories like that about MJ. There's plenty more stories. MJ played basketball in the 80s. You don't think there's plenty more stories about this guy? Why would they want you not to think that there's anything that this human being, who's an imperfect human being, for people to even say that, you should see that they're brainwashed by the media. The media needs MJ to look perfect because he's the #1 shoe seller. This is about money. They don't give a shit about MJ. When he gets old and he gets later on, if his shoe decline or he try to go off on his own and don't let them get some money in his pocket out of his pocket, they'll let out all kind of stories about MJ. This is all a game. So you can't blame the people. You gotta blame. First of all, you gotta blame them for idolizing celebrities a little bit and not listening to their families.
Right.
See, that's why they don't promote families. When you don't have a family structure, you're not connected to nothing. So you worship Rihanna. It's people that will kill for Beyonce and they never met her. There's people that'll kill for LeBron. Now, no young boy would go kill for LeBron and people they idolize if they got their daddy and their mama and they going for walks in a park and they eating PB&J and they out there with their drone. They'll be.
Ain't no way. What they do that at? Not on 53. Man, get out of here, man. Speaking Chinese, that ain't even American. That ain't English.
Connected to something. Right. But a little boy who's in the projects, who mama is gone because she has to work and daddy's in prison, he's sitting there watching his dreams and these images that they're putting out there for him. And this is all he got. There ain't no black boy magic. His sister get to put on rainbows and pigtails and wear a shirt that say girls rock. It ain't no shirt that say boys rock. A president that's in the office now say these boys are super predators. That's all black boys keep hearing, how bad and violent they are. There ain't no shirt that say black
super
boys
predators.
And the mamas, see, this is why I know we tapped into these women's ego.
Sad thing
They
about
know they got
it go
two
both
boys
ways
and one
though.
girl. But they'll put that girl on a pedestal in every picture. And what are they doing for these two boys? We got to get over this ego and watch the behavior of these people. I don't want to hear how nice someone talks. I don't know why people don't understand about MJ and how the world is about money. I don't get it. It's very simple to see.
I mean, I think that, your point is far. I mean, you see my shirt, Great Black Father. I mean, I'm lifting up black men. I do a lot of programs with black men and fathers. I wrote my
I'm
father.
gonna go follow that. Y'all go check them out.
Black boys who are always told that they can't be successful if they come from a broken home.
How do you go about fixing that other than talk? Because my thing is,
you got to do programs and so this is.
I think trades fix it within 3 years.
You think
trades? The reason why I'm telling you, you have to get around this company policy. I don't care how strong you tell a young black male to be. If he grow up in this society where the media has a machine pumping black women to where they can see that the numbers for young black males is that you're reading on a 4th grade reading level. If it was change the gender of those black bodies that's in the street, and God forbid if it was black women, they would shut this world down. But because there's 2 or 3 black boys every night in certain cities, because it's happening every single night. If it was 2 or 3 white boys laying out in the city, I think they'll go get the black. There'll be a bigger reaction for black women than there'll even be for a white boy in today's society.
Well, this is how you change. First, you have to change the mentality. We
gotta get these boys working. They have no.
I agree. I agree 100%. But before you can even get to that point, you have to change the mentality. Because you have people that are pouring into them and telling them that they are nothing unless they can be an athlete or a rapper. They're nothing, like nothing else. Like there's no other job in the world that you could possibly be at.
Yeah, that be our main thing. We don't focus on stocks and other type of business owners. We focus on we either got to sell drugs or you got to be a superstar athlete or something like that, or just get lucky, or you just gonna be normal. You're not gonna really what they call make it by society standards. To society standards, a homeless man made it to me. Get out of here.
Because those are the only 2 things that you're talented in, that your people are talented in, is athletics and music. That's what our kids are told. Then they're also told, because I was told this when I was young. My parents were divorced when I was young. You know what I mean? And I remember people coming to my school, from middle school to high school, telling me that if I grew up in a broken home, what they call a broken.
It ain't cool, it ain't hip to be a scientist. It's cool to be a rapper though. A dope boy, paint cars and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It ain't cool to be no anthropologist, archaeologist, I mean, stuff like that ain't cool. Know all about plants or bugs or something, huh? Okay. Teach y'all the class with the my bug friend. Can't remember his name. Shout out to him though. I'm gonna look it up. Taught me a lot about bugs. Let's go.
Right? That I am more likely to do this. I'm probably gonna join a gang. I'm probably gonna, drop out of school. Give me all the percentages and all that stuff. And my thing was always, well, it don't have to be like that. Like, it don't have to be like that. So when you change the mentality of young boys to be able to like a force field around them. So when all that bull comes at them from the media or their teachers or whoever, it bounces off of them. And they know that that's not true. Right? But when they accept that, and they're like, oh, well, I guess all I could do is when they see it as a lie,
they know that was
no matter how many times it's said to them. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. But the thing about it is, you can't change their mentality when the media is paying so much money for beef. When these companies are paying these young boys to rap and say some of the most outlandish things on camera and talk about death and murder and mayhem, and we allow that on our radio stations. We allow to talk about how we're going to have a Draco for a black man, and they don't use that word. We allow that.
Because I sure got one. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? I'm in caught up in society, and I know.
And all kind of things. So
I ain't got one. I had one. I done been caught up in society, and I know.
It's poison in their music program
the entire time. Idiotic. But that's how society got you brainwashed, and everybody around you pushing towards a certain type of way.
Oh, I agree 100%. I am 100%. There are so many positive rappers that are out there, both male and female, that never get a chance to be on the radio ever.
I often say, well,
ever.
when?
They don't want nothing positive on the radio.
I don't hear them
I got my daughters listening to Rhapsody. They love Lord Hill.
I don't listen nothing past.
Why don't I ever hear Rhapsody on the radio?
Because
none came out past 2005.
They want them to hear that. They want them to hear that
other stuff. Right.
No, I got all the parts. 2007.
The reason why they want you to do this is because they want you to self-destruct.
But they've been doing that you can't make your family structure everybody else's. Not
no. I agree. But
what if you wasn't there? What if you wasn't there? And your wife is working all the time because she got to take care of these kids. You're not going to be there to tell them. So that's why we're not promoting families. That's why men are toxic. He's trying to control you. Anything a man says, even if it's good logic, don't go spend this money. What are you doing? Oh, you don't control me. Tell me what to do with my money. You're going to spend it. And then you need help with the bill after that a month later.
Listen, I'm not fighting that at all. You know what I mean? But the messages have to be consistently given to the young people that what they're being told from
they need to be given to the adults.
I 100% agree. But it's like dealing with where we should be and fighting that fight, and then dealing with where we're at. So we're not going to get. Let me finish the point. Where we're at right now is a young man right now. And I tell my AU team this all the time. You have to understand all of the pitfalls that are being done for you to fall into. And they're going to be from your teachers, from people you come in contact with, both white and black. It's going to be people who are going to everywhere. No question.
But that's the thing. Like, in order for us black people to succeed, we got to start having real conversations. I failed my children by not being married like you did. I'm not a woman. Most women are going to go, that's crazy. There's numbers that you can look up on what we can't talk about what other people are failing our kids when we sign up. That's setting out what we're signing up these little boys and these little girls for. They're behind the 8 ball by our doing right away. Before we talk about white supremacy, before we talk about the school system, before we talk about anything, we're not going to fix anything until we address this out of wedlock birth. And it's not just all men. It's too financial that they're pumping too much financial gain in keeping black males fighting black females. If nobody's winning in these situations, the kids are growing up angry. They're growing up without love. And that's the whole point of Mama's Cooking. A woman's love to a child is one of the most important things that little child can get. He needs his father's logic and how to deal with situations. But that child, if that mama's at work being a doctor, she could be writing 10 books, and she can come up with all these great things, but she's going to fail that child if she's not there to sprinkle that mama's cooking. So it's not about education, and it's not about race. It's about don't have a child until you're ready to. As for a man, I don't care if y'all don't stay together. But you got to not have that hatred towards that man to where your feelings is going to stand in front of you, allowing this man to come over every day. I don't care if he's just at the driveway. Allow him to pick that boy up and go throw that baseball. It don't got nothing to do with your feelings. It don't got nothing to do with how many girls he got.
If he ain't doing that,
little boy.
The thing about it, if he ain't doing that, then y'all should get mad. That's when you have a problem. If he can do it a little bit, hey, let him ride. It's better than none at all. At least get something. You got to practice makes perfect. So if they start out doing a little bit, they're probably going to do a little bit more. Think about that.
Little girl don't care nothing about that. We got to get these women to start understanding that once you have a child out of wedlock, you and that man set that child up for the word go. And I've done it. So I'm not speaking from a position above anyone. That's why I worry about my kids all the time. I try to talk to their mamas and look, stop all this fighting. But I understand the importance. We are raising a nation of bastardized kids, but then we want people to respect them when we don't even respect them. We can do all the talk in the world, but we got to build that foundation back strong. If the new thing is women don't want to be with men and be married, cool. But a father should be allowed to see his child every day if he so chooses. That's kind of thing.
I definitely agree with you, and this is, and it's, you know, I'm going to use myself as an example, and we were both raised by our mothers. Okay, my mom had sprinkled some mama's cooking on me when I was young,
and look at you out there.
But listen, she also prepared me, and also that had me know that, listen, you know what I mean? These are going to be some things that are going to be set up for you to fail. You know how many guys from my AAU team were Crips? Neighborhood Crips, Main Street Crips, and they was better than me. They should be in the NBA before me. I have no problem saying that. I played 11 years in the NBA, and I can easily name 20 guys from North Tulsa that was better than me and should have been in the NBA way before me. No problem in saying that, right? But my mother did tell me, okay, you got to look out for this, you got to look out for this. These are going to be pitfalls, you have to be able to do this. Now, I had a relationship with my dad. My parents got divorced, but I saw my dad go visitations, you know what I mean? I would chill with him during the summer. We had a relationship, but it's different than having your mother there, your dad there all the time, every single day. Like my son has with me. Right. So I come there every single day. Hey, what's going on with you? Sometimes I gotta yoke him up when he think he, you know what I mean, a little bit. Yeah. Sometimes I gotta take advice.
What if I put some turkey in?
Every single day thing is different. It is different.
What about ham hocks?
The main reason why
what about some old pig feet?
And started that whole fatherhood movement to inspire young people was because there's a lot of young people that was just like me growing up, where they didn't have their father in their home, and I saw them join gangs. I know why they joined gangs. The game becomes your family. Like OGs are like your father figures.
On God.
I get it. You know?
On God. Y'all look at church and God. Y'all look at church and God. We look at the streets and the game as our saviors. That's how they got the mentality of the upbringing of the human beings, let alone the black human beings, different than everybody else. That's how we suffer.
But it doesn't have to be that way. So I'll tell you this real quick story. This is when I was with the Hawks. I was at a panel discussion, right? And crazy, I was sitting right next to Stephen A. Smith, right? But it was Stephen A. Smith. It was
how did you do that?
Hey, Jason Whitlock was right down there. Spike was the moderator. It was crazy. And Jim Brown was there. So afterwards, after the panel, we go in the back and we're all talking about different things we're doing and stuff like that. And Jim Brown made this statement. And he said, you know, if you do not have a father in your life, you're going to end up in prison. Flat out like that while we was out there talking to all these black men at Morehouse, right? And I was like, well, it doesn't have to be like that. You know, you can make a difference. There's too many different people that made that decision.
Somebody got to play that role, though.
You know, but he was like, no, it's a foregone conclusion. So we got into a back and forth about that. And that's what kind of prompted me to write the fatherhood book, to encourage young people that you don't have to go down that road, right?
But what I'm saying is, if your father ain't there to be the father figure, somebody got to play that role. Your uncle, a friend, the auntie, the grandmama, the mama. Somebody has to play that father role in your life, like whether they know it or not. It has to be some type of role. If not, you just can't. You ain't won't understand how to function as a human being. That we have a lot of problems as.
I have even used Kwame Brown as an example with my AAU because now, you know, we OGs now. So now I'm like, you know, I tell like these good comfortable stories. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, you know, everything is a story to get a point across with young people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was like, listen, Kwame Brown was in the toughest situation that y'all could not even imagine being there with MJ. Y'all can't even, because you know, young kids, they're like, you know, my coach don't like me, I want to quit. I'm like, man, you ain't gonna quit just because your coach don't like you. Go prove them wrong, like Kwame Brown did. I use you as an example all the time. I'm like, look, I was like, Kwame Brown MJ was his teammate, right, and also owned the team, right. So after Kwame Brown left the Wizards, he came back and chose to go with the Charlotte Bobcats, which MJ was the owner there, and proved him wrong and showed MJ that he could play. and he was successful. He didn't have to do that. He chose to do that. And I'm using you as an example. And they're like, wow, yeah, I never knew that story. I never heard that story. I never heard Stephen A. Smith tell that story. I never heard anybody make that correlation that you did that. And I said, that's strength. That's courage. To go back, and he could have gone to any other team. You was a free agent then, right? Make sure I'm telling the story right. And you went to Charlotte. And that was my issue. And so I'm telling them they have other people like us, right? We're not their parents, but we're mentors. And we can pour in positivity to them and prepare them and be like, hey man, you can't just quit because the coach don't like you. Who cares if he don't like you? You can't go off on this teacher just because, you know what I mean, she don't like you or he don't like you or he don't think that you deserve to be in his class. That happened to me all my years. I always had teachers that didn't like me and didn't think I needed them. You beat them at their own game.
But I can tell you had to have a male figure around you.
Oh, definitely. I had all kinds of mentors. I had my pastor, he was Reverend Potter on my AAU team. I had my grandfather, who was like my guy. I spent every summer with him in Harlem. I definitely mentors, black male mentors for young black men are crucial.
But I wouldn't say that. I would say their fathers are the main first option. But if their fathers are not around, because what's happened is a lot of women have started making the excuse of, well, his father ain't this, his father ain't that, but you slept with him. So we have to get them to understand that little boy don't share the same emotional connection that you do with this man. So I can tell you've been around a man because of the way that you communicate in situations, especially situations of conflict. And what Jim Brown was trying to say, that there's data and there's numbers that show that kids that grow up with just their mother has a higher chance of somehow landing in someone's prison system.
And I get that. And it has to be that way.
No, nobody's saying that. Yeah, what I'm saying is this. And it doesn't have to be that way. And here's what numbers also prove. When there's a man there, that kid has a lot more logic. He has a lot more reasoning. And he usually has a more calmer demeanor. And it doesn't have to be his father. That's why mentors are important. But I don't like to say that because what it does is it gives women excuses to say, we're going to get a mentor first. A lot of women are seeking out mentors because they don't like. Remember, we have the like and dislike world. Once a woman don't like a man no more, for whatever reason, I don't care if he cheated on you, I don't care if he did that, what he did to you. Right. He hasn't done anything to his son. I don't care if he missed the child support payment, whatever you want to say, the excuse not to let this man see his son. Because some of you women can't afford to pay every month either for these children. Right. So we have to stop that excuse. That little boy needs those life lessons from a male. And it seems like in our community, we want to circumvent his chromosomes, his natural father, his earthly father. We want to circumvent him and bring him around a stranger called a mentor, and then wonder why so many of these kids have been touched on. He don't have a connection to that baby. So we're at the mercy of if this is a good guy or not. And some of these women, they don't understand how to see these predator guys. So I've seen it to where I've been around basketball players to where some of these coaches, I'll be like, what's going on for a walk? And I agree. I'm at an EU game, like, what's going on? And they usually get these kids from these very poor situations that ain't been around men. They give them a little bit of money, and they think they got to take that money home to mama. And I saw a lot of destruction for kids that were trying to help mama. So I always preach that, and it's the truth. A male is a protector. There's nobody walking. There's no men walking out of your houses. I've seen men walking in and out of some of my friends' house. So what I'm saying is, you got to. A male's role is more than his paycheck. We have to start connecting these boys back to their earthly father. It's a spiritual thing. It does not matter that you move on and go get another man. That little boy, no other man can come in and identify with your son and that bond that you have with your son if your wife leaves you. Not no other man. So we have to stop. Take it. The adults need to get out of the way If kids are the future, we got to start making decisions that benefit them and them only. They should be number one first. The decision that I'm going to make to move from Georgia to California, how is this going to affect my child and seeing his father? Right. I'm not going to say, if he don't fly away to California and see this baby, he's a bad man. No, I'm not going to fly to California because that's going to take this kid away from his father. And a lot of women, not all, but some of them, they use these kids as bargaining chips. These are not love children. These are not mama's cooking children.
I know all about it.
Somebody in the middle of the street, some of them.
Right fire.
We have to correct that.
Right
no
fire.
white man can fix that. No policy can fix that. No nothing can fix that but fixing the family structure.
I agree.
I can tell by the way the background of your house looks, how you speak. I know those kids are well spoken. They're calm. They're clean. And there's certain things that your children are not going to do because they got to come and deal with you and your wife.
You're right.
You got to have that in every home.
You're right. I agree.
My son, I know where he at. If I call him right now, he be running out here. Yes, sir. We got to have that in these homes. Some of these homes, there ain't a parent around to tell these kids nothing. They sit back drinking 40s. We got all these homeboys over there. The daughters are opened up to all type of grown-ups. The kids are opened up to the streets. Why are these young boys able to join these gangs? My son can't go join no gang.
Right.
The gang gonna have to get me first.
Right, I agree.
But that's my job. The gang gonna have to run over me first. Then they can have them after I'm gone. But that's our job.
See, and
you don't get that back, it's over.
This is the jewels that I've. Now, it's interesting because we've had conversations at a young age. You was a young cat with the wizard, but you were already very intelligent, and we've had conversations where there's a lot of things that you saw.
You was just like in the homeless shelter.
I feel you, and you were, and this is the part, and this is not just to gas you up, or anything like that. This is being honest. When I talk about the story, has to be told correctly of what you was able to persevere through before you even got to the NBA. Mm-hmm. So, but for what you persevered through before you even met MJ, then persevering through that time period of MJ was not even, what I'm saying, you done gone through all of this. Right? So through all of this, and yet it would just bother me when people would speak as if they know you because of what they heard from the media. Because a lot of times people keep saying, why do you keep talking about the media so much? I was like, because the media has shaped a country's opinion about a man that they know nothing about.
Not just a man, they shape the country's opinion about everything.
They do, but in this particular topic, I'm talking about Kwame Brown. So the media has taken, when I talk about those, and I had to go, and it's so funny when I tell you these different journalists, I ain't gonna call them out, but they didn't hit me.
You better not, because I'm gonna get them.
They were like, we not like this, we did this, and we always, and I'm like, you ain't said nothing.
If one of them ever cross you, email me their name and I'll get them.
It's just so funny to me because they're like, Stephen A. Smith was no bigger than y'all. Y'all were all media people. Y'all all the same. Do you remember? They were so vicious, and then it just spread because when Stephen A. Smith did it, then it became common for all of them. I heard them in the break room. I heard them talking. So even if they didn't write something, I remember hearing them say the same things, spread different rumors. Say that Kwame Brown didn't know how to order food, or Kwame Brown didn't know how to wear shoes, or Kwame Brown didn't know how to go to a dry cleaners. All of those lies, I hear you spreading the rumors. So don't tell me that you were not part of it. You were part of it. He was 18 at the time, 17, 18 years old, and already had more intelligence than most of them. Because we had conversations, and people would be like, well, why do you always, you always jump to his defense? And I'm like, because I know him in a way that y'all don't know him. I actually talked to him. Many people didn't talk to you and ask you. They just wait for what they heard. I'm like, just ask him. Just ask him a question on that. Don't, just write things. There was this guy named Tom Knott. Now, him I can name. Do you remember Tom Knott from the Washington Times? Okay, look him up. This dude, old decrepit white dude, he would just sit up there and talk bad about the Wizards from way back to Chris Webber. He dogged Chris Webber. He dogged me. He dogged you. He dogged Brendan. He would call Brendan Brenda all the time. You know what I mean? He would call me the poet, like trying to mock me. You know, I was like, well, poetry's not something that I'm ashamed of, but he would use it in a mocking way. He would talk about you. And he would just pile on all this stuff. And one time, I wrote him back. I started writing open letters, right? So I wrote an open letter. You know, I'm a writer, so that's what I write for. You know, I tell you how I'm back in the plane just writing stuff. You got a big dog, huh? So I'm writing to him, and many people do not like to correct them or criticize them. He got so offended that I criticized him, you know what I mean, or like critiqued him, or something like that. But he shaped people's opinions of players, especially in DC. You know what I mean? For the Wizards.
Well, look like I have some titties on there, boy.
People thought about Gilbert one way. People thought about Chris Webber one way.
Gotta do better.
All because of what he wrote. And I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, wow. The media is used for evil so much right now. I can't help but try to say, no, it's wrong for this person and this person and this person. You know, because they have so much power. So even, and I know we try to move away from Stephen A. Smith, but his name keeps coming up. When he is on air all the time doing this over and over about not just Kwame Brown, because I was making it bigger than Kwame Brown, about player after player after player after player. Usually black male after black male after black male after black male. It's part of a whole system that is demonizing.
No. It is just because most of every athlete is black. They don't do baseball and shit. Talk about that. You can't do nothing but talk about black people.
Feels comfortable and actually.
Majority of the league is black, so if he talking about somebody, he got to talk about it. One and two. Why we need to be worried about like what Big Perk said? Why y'all ain't worried about baseball? They ain't got no bust out here. It's baseball, soccer. Well, they ain't never had no bus. Oh, okay, act like it, man.
You know what I mean? Throwing insults at Cam Newton. He's a child.
They would have turned the cameras off where I'm from.
Yeah, but he's watching people like Stephen A. Smith do that every single day on TV.
Well, Stephen A. Smith, man, like I said, listen, even the way they set it up, Stephen A. Smith, he's a paid pundit. This is what they do. They take a black guy and let him say all that. They cross him up between the white guy. You know how they set them across from each other. They have Stephen A. and the white guy. They know that the white guy can't say what Stephen A. gonna say. So they'll have the white guy just ask some questions, and he'll come in and he'll be soft. He'll bring up the topic.
And see, Brown, to me, people like me and you, that's simple stuff. We see that like easy, ABC. Some people it go over their head, they never see it. Like that's like 1 + 1 is 2. It's not 30. Simple, common sense.
Seem to be the innocent person, like he's just being fair. And then Stephen A. comes in because he's the personality, and he's just doing his job. And then Stephen A. goes in on all the black players.
Right.
All of them.
He does.
The white players, benefit of the doubt every time. He's never, even the dude that allegedly was on that H, he said, well, you know, he's a good player, we know what happened. When it was Lamar Odom, he went at him with venom. When it was Zach Randolph, he went at him with venom. And it's just like, when it's the boy,
Had temporary interruption. Let me check myself out. Okay. Am I back on? Let go, baby. Got muted somewhere. I don't know how I got muted. Watch out.
I know you're talking. Yeah, he kept getting caught with that. Yeah. He wanted him out of the league. Yeah. What happened to compassion that he's addicted to something?
Right.
What happened to the football league should care about these players and give them treatment? What happened to asking, why are you smoking marijuana? Is it that you're injured a lot and you're trying to mask the pain without taking all these prescription drugs that has side effects?
Right.
Like, can he try CBD? Like, are you working with these players to see what works for them, or are you trying to tell them what to do?
Well, he's trying to ridicule them, and he did that with Stephon Marbury. That's why Stephon Marbury called him out.
Oh, he killed Stephon.
Yeah, but he was like, you don't know anything about it, but he's making it personal. You remember Kyrie? So Kyrie, and this is the interesting part. Before the bubble, Kyrie made a statement that maybe there's more stuff going on right now. Basketball is the biggest thing. We need to think about how we can affect the world. The things that were going on in the world, in the country, was bothering Kyrie.
Yeah.
He said, basketball may not be the number one priority.
And he's been enemy number one ever since.
Oh my God! But it wasn't just Stephen A. Smith. It was Stephen A. Smith. It was Barkley. It was all the cats that was like. But they used words like idiot and foolish and stupid and everything like that, talking about.
Because you should know better, boy. Listen, this is what they do. They bring out everybody. They group up on them. They have everybody that people like saying the exact same thing on every station. The people that like Charles Barkley, the people who think he's funny, the people that like Shaq, the people that like these people automatically say in their self-conscious mind, well, dang, if he's saying that, that got to be true. I don't like Kyrie no more.
Yeah, just like that.
That's what happens.
And I mean, when Kyrie said he had to take a minute, you know what I mean, because he needed to separate for a second, take a minute, take a personal day.
And they weren't talking about mental health then.
They was like, oh, how could Kyrie do something like that? I mean, he's so terrible. And here goes Stephen A. Smith. It's funny to do. I'm like, dog. So then when they try to play like, oh, we're not saying anything about him personally. Personal. The way that you are talking about these athletes.
You can play the two clips of how they talk about him, and then when the players say something about him, then how they act like this. Whatever do you mean?
What do you mean?
You're just talking about basketball.
I'm like, come on, man.
You're being aggressive. You woke up with violence. You're toxic.
Let me ask you this, though, because a lot of people do want to know this question as far as what has your communication been with MJ? So, as far as now, we know what the situation was with the Boyz now, 20 years later, or even when you were in Charlotte. What was did he ever have a discussion with you, address everything, how you was treated? What was the communication like?
None. I mean, MJ don't talk. Like, MJ is just a straight. When you're that good, you have to be selfish. I couldn't imagine being his son. Like, no knock to him. You're going to get gifts and you're going to get all that. But as far as time, as far as having your father, too many people loved and admired this man for him to be able to give as much to his kids. So, I don't understand why people think he would be talking to me. He don't have time to talk to me.
Yeah, no, but my question was more like, if y'all, because like when you went back to Charlotte, what were y'all conversations with? Like with him, and when the conversations with MJ and addressing how.
Let's come out there and joke. We don't have no conversation with you. Just be joking. I think I can hit a shot half court. What you want to do?
Not that though. I mean specifically about how you were treated in DC. Like that. He never brought it up. Never said anything. Never.
That's the only conversation we have on Joke Time.
You were just joking. So when you went back to Charlotte and you were playing well, right? You were playing well. You was double. You was killing, right? To be honest with you. And so he didn't come back and say anything to you during that time period.
No, they brought another guy in and started cutting my minutes. They started playing me just the first quarter and the third quarter, and I would sit the whole second and fourth.
See, I was honestly, this is what I was hoping. I was hoping that
Breakfast Nation, huh?
Well, yeah, we sat down and had a conversation, and we talked about, what happened in DC, and he said maybe I could have handled this situation a little bit better with you, but I was trying to do it. None of that happened with MJ ever up until this point.
No, he had me talk to his crony, Rod Higgins. And I can't stand that joke there. Because when the situation, to me, he's the epitome of a coward. And they put people like me in situations where you really can't check a person. I'm on a 1-year deal. I know that if I react the way that I'm supposed to react, I'm not going to just kiss the NBA goodbye. If I'm ready to make that decision, I've always been a thinker. You could do this or you could do that. Right. This is going to be this. Right. Stay quiet and say nothing and move on. But I remember when Oak was upset. You know, he always upset. So he acted as if he was ready to fight. And of course, I just stood there. You know, he's talking and yelling and whatever else. And instead of Rod Higgins saying, you know what, oh, you need to chill, you're a coach. He was on the sidelines laughing. And I'm just thinking in my head, this is a black male who was the general manager who had me as a teenager one time. Now you got me as an adult. You watching a man act as if he's going to throw a ball at me and act as if he wants to fight me. Knowing that this guy is an employee of your organization. Imagine how dumb this guy is that if Charles Oakley would have hit me, it happened in the Charlotte. It would have happened in the Charlotte Bobcats facility. I wouldn't even fought back. I would have hoped he broke my neck. This was at practice, or this was in the locker room? This was in an open practice. That's why I say the things that I say, I don't be lying about like that. But after he finished ranting and raving, I sat him down and we went on the sideline and talked. But I always you and Oakley talk. Yeah, I always remember Rod Higgins laughing like that, and I just remember I'm like, that is the epitome of a coward. Because as an elder, you're supposed to step in and say, no, first of all, this is legally, you can't do this, for number one. Number two, don't talk to this man like that. This is not what this organization represents. You're not going to threaten to hit players. And so it was to me, it was no class in that. There was no respect. And this is a black man. So that's why when I hear people talking about, oh, we just need black this.
We quick to tear down ourselves. But I had to look at it from both sides. Because I got if I don't tear y'all down, then you ain't going to do your show, ain't going to try to get better. You're just going to continue to get worse. It might be why we at now. Because people like me are not tearing y'all down in the proper way. As in younger black generation. P.S. The older generation need to be taught too, because the black generation, the older generation, are a big part of the problem. While we are where we at.
We need black that. No, we need counseling. Because there's some black males that the only way they feel good is standing on another black male's shoulders. And I've never been like that. There's room and space for all of us. And the males that act like Rod Higgins, I can't stand those types. Oakley, I understand Oakley. That's his whole thing. He's tough. He's going to challenge people. Alpha,
I don't know them niggas.
But I'm alpha as well. So I know not to overreact. He didn't touch me. He was just talking. And so it is what it is. And that's the way Oak communicates. When he's trying to get you to do certain drills and stuff, he's fiery. Right. I've seen guys get cut because they overreact to what a coach is saying to them. Right. They cry. They be, just like you said, they be very good players. And there's a through line to that. Some of these guys that only have mama patting them on the back saying how great they are and never been around a man that said, hey, boy, you BSing. You ain't doing a good job. And they can't take that without crying. Those are the kids that can't handle life. Because life going to throw you. People are going to disagree with you.
That can't handle life.
Going to say some things to you. No parent in the world can save reality from happening to you. Reality is some part of life at some point is going to suck. And you're going to, right, based on the things that your parents and people around you instilled in you, you're going to be able to deal with that adversity in that situation. What we have now is over-pampered kids that just been talking a lot. They're book smart, but they have no experience about what real life is. You could take an educated woman, an educated male, and put them around a street cat, and they'll have everything that educated person have, and have the.
You'll do a little practice to see how I do when I edit. See how I look. Quality. I shouldn't be going live yet, but I am. Practice makes perfect. And hey, I'm exclusive, so I do exclusive stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Yeah, a few of them. Right there. We out. Go subscribe, man. Check me out. Share. Y'all go share my page. Subscribe, like, comment. I love comments.